everyone! In today's episode we're going to be learning how to do a granny stitch, so let's just jump on into it. Okay, so to start off this stitch we're going to chain a multiple of 3 plus 2. So I'm going to chain 30 plus 2, so I'm going to chain 32. Okay, so here I have my 32 chains, and for the first row of this stitch, you're simply going to be working a row of single crochet. Okay, so I have now finished my first row of single crochet stitches. And for our second row is where we start the granny stitch. And the first thing we're going to do is chain 2. 1, 2, and you're going to turn your work. And then we're going to work a double crochet into that first stitch here. And that chain 2 is going to count as your first double crochet, so you're technically working 2 double crochets into this stitch. So you're going to do your double crochet into that same stitch. So you have 2 double crochets in that first stitch. And now what we're going to do is skip 2 of your single crochet stitches from the bottom row. So we're going to skip 1, 2, and into that third stitch you're going to work 3 double crochets. One, 2, and 3. So now you have your first cluster there. And you're just going to continue that same pattern. So you're going to skip 2 of your single crochet stitches. So you're going to skip 1, 2, move on to the third, and do 3 double crochets. And again, you're just going to keep repeating that pattern until your last couple stitches. So now you're at the end of your row and you have 3 single crochet stitches left. And just like the beginning of the row, you're going to work only 2 double crochets into that last stitch rather than 3. So I'm going to work my 2 double crochets into that last stitch. 1 and 2. And now for our next row, what we're going to do is chain 2 and turn, and that chain 2 is going to count as your first double crochet, and on this row you only have 1 double crochet in the beginning instead of 2. So then the next thing you're going to do is work 3 double crochets into this area between your other 3 double crochets and your 2 double crochets from the previous row. So just into this space I'm going to work 1, 2, 3 double crochets. And then for the rest of the row, you're going to be working those 3 double crochets into each of the spaces between your previous 3 double crochets from the last row. So now I'm going to be working into this area between these 3 clusters. So now I'm at the end of that second row. And what you're gonna do is, still in this space between your double crochets, you're gonna work one more cluster of double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then just like how you had one double crochet in the beginning of the row, you're gonna have one double crochet at the end. So in that last stitch, you're going to work one double crochet. So now for our next row, what we're going to do is chain 2, turn your work, and just like that first row of granny stitches, you're going to start this row off with 2 double crochets in that first stitch. So you have your chain 2, which counts as your first double crochet, and then you're going to do your second double crochet into that same stitch. So now you have 2, and now you're going to start working your double crochet clusters into the spaces between from the row below again. Okay, now that I have gotten to the last part of that row, you're going to do the same thing like you did in the beginning, where you had 2 double crochets at the front. So at the end of the row, you're going to work another 2 double crochets into that last stitch. And from this point on, you're just going to be alternating between what you did in your second row of clusters and your third row of clusters. So in your next row, you're going to be working that 1 double crochet at the beginning, and then start working your 3 double crochets into your spaces, ending with 1 double crochet. And then in your next row, you're going to be starting with 2 double crochets, and then going into your 3 double crochets in the spaces, and with 2 double crochets. And you're just gonna keep repeating those one after another until you're done with your swatch. So I'm gonna keep doing that, and we'll see what this looks like when it's done. Okay, so I finished a couple rows of the granny stitch, and this is what it will look like. It's a very easy and fun stitch. You can use it for so many things. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch tutorial, and we look forward to teaching you more in the future. Happy stitching!